frost kind. You guys almost lost me a couple of days ago. I had stage 4 renal failure. Stage 4 renal failure. Every muscle in my entire body was cramping like you would not believe. You know how when you get a leg cramp and it stays with you for a while? Just imagine that all over. Even your fingers and your hands and your wrist and your arm and your neck, back, kidneys, everything. It wasn't fun. I almost died. I'm very lucky. And again, I can go outside any given time and be in heaven and on earth at the same time and take my picture of myself in heaven. I'm not like you humans. You humans can't do that. That's unheard of. Especially coming from a white man. It's unheard of. And that's how you know I've been telling the truth the whole time. And a lot of other people have been telling the truth the whole time about their abduction. And they've lost their family. They've lost their job. They lost their house. They lost all their possessions. They lost all their friends. And they're pretty much living on the street with nothing, no money. Because they told the truth, because they came in contact with people from another world, and they were looking for help. And no one believed them. Everybody just disowned them. Everybody shunned them, including the church. We can't help you. We can't help you. I had everybody say that to me too. I lost everything too. But I made a comeback. I had to. It's called survival. Now, I've died physically back in time before my natural childbirth. Something that humans can't do because, number one, I was traveling through time on a craft called a UFO. And number two, I died physically thousands of years before I was even born. I became something that humans have no idea or comprehension of. But you read about them every day, called angels, called time travelers, called deities. And I was just a little kid. Still haven't got to talk to the military, any other military. Still haven't got to talk to the President of the United States. I haven't got to talk to anybody really, except for the people who have been watching me and following my story on Facebook, on YouTube, and on TikTok. And the things that I've been showing them. Ooh, the things that I've been showing them. People can't comprehend. And they laugh at it. They think it's a joke. It's not funny. When you fight the devil himself, it's not a laughing matter. Really, it really isn't. And when you're up in heaven, and you're on earth at the same time, it's not a laughing matter. It's very serious. You see, I can snitch on all of you at any given moment. Just go outside, lift my head back up, boom, I'm in heaven. And tell on everybody. The consequences of that would be dramatic. because heaven's real. I've proven that over and over again. The extraterrestrials are real. I've proven that first. Out of all the human species, I've proven that first millions of years ago. Because there were no humans. I helped create them. Millions of years ago, I had sex with a woman covered in hair who you would all call Eve. I'm Adam. Time travel. And recorded it, and it's been documented and it's been published. I'm one of your ancient ancestor fathers. The only people, the only people who I saw many millions of years ago were Eve, a giant, me, and the extraterrestrials. That was it. That was it. There wasn't anybody else. And millions of years into the future, here I am having a Gatorade, recovering from almost dying again. Yeah, look at Betty and Barney Hill. Barney died because it was too much trauma for him. He had an ulcer. And it ate him up. It ate him up. And also because of the time on Earth, it was a hard time for interracial couples, black and white men, to marry, you know, black and white women. You know, people would make fun of you. People would actually beat the shit out of you because you married someone in the opposite color. Now that's going to happen all again, because of the fact that there are many extraterrestrials who have been mating with the human species all through history. And it's just really not public, you know, known to the public that well because of the stigma of, well, it's not real. You're crazy. You're on drugs. You're a drunk. No, I'm not crazy. And neither are the other people, the other women who had been raped, had their eggs taken, or have been inseminated, and go to find out the next month on their physical for their baby to see that the baby's missing. And the doctors can't explain it. Now, what's going to happen when you see an extraterrestrial man or a woman walking down the street with a human man or a woman, and they're in love? Are you going to make fun of them? Are you going to be happy for them? Are you going to beat the shit out of them? You see, you humans today, you're still not evolved enough. You're still not evolved enough, you know. You're so stereotypical of certain things, it's pathetic. You know, there's another guy who was abducted, a man, and a woman extraterrestrial had sex with him, and all through his on and off all through his life, he was having sex with a woman who was not human. And, you know, people thought he was crazy. People think he's... Ouch! Dang it, Max, quit. People think he's crazy. But he told the truth. And this people just can't accept the reality of the truth because it involves something that people were told to make fun of by the government, you know. So... hey, at least, you know, he was happy. You know, he made many paintings of his partner. And I know there's a love thing going on there, you know. But it's really not out in the open because, you know, one is extraterrestrial and one is human, you know. It's pretty sad, isn't it? I think so. You see, many people getting rich off the subject of extraterrestrials, like Dr. Stephen Greer, Linda Moulton Howe, Nick Pope, even people who do the worst terrible editing short little scripts on a YouTube called like Third Phase of Moon, or you know, Rich Diag, whatever his stupid name is, on Goofon. You know, those people, they just want to make themselves rich and say stupid stuff behind the computer. You know, they don't go out and do no real research. It takes lots of money to go out there in the field. It takes you eating gas station food months after months, knocking on doors, giving interviews. Not everything is going to be done on the computer. And the people who think that's going to be a reality will never learn anything. Look at me. I went on a 50-mile hike. I've physically done things that humans can't even comprehend. And I was just a little kid. So were the other children, the other 3 children that I was with, and the adults. We did things together that you people still can't even comprehend. Because we were physically doing something. We were being participants in something. And you people today, you just stay behind a computer. And the biggest excuse is, I can't. I have no money. Me neither. But if enough of us people got together, we could pull something up. We could do something together. But no one ever thinks of those little things, you know. Sure, a rich man can go out there by himself, but he'll forget many things. He won't think about these little things, you know, like, well, maybe I needed a cooking stove, or an extra roll of toilet paper, or some Pop-Tarts, or something to eat. You know, he won't think of those things because he's so rich he can get anything that he wants. But when he finds himself way out there in the middle of the deep woods, he's not strong enough to carry that big old heavy backpack that he's loading down with all the stuff that he's going to use as his supplies. He's not thinking about the longevity of the 50-mile hike. He's just thinking minute by minute. And that's where you get in trouble. Me, I have my proof. I have my proof. Boy, I sure do got a lot of it, too. Got a lot of it. You know, but I was lucky, you know. I was just a little kid. Now, do you think these things would have happened the same way if I was an adult, if I was in a group with other adults? Probably not. Because I wouldn't have been probably sitting down at the console pushing all the buttons. You know. My destiny took flight the minute I got taken. I went all through history. I went all through history. Recorded and documented. Flying a UFO. Now, I try to contact the military many times and tell them I drove a UFO when I was time traveling all through history. I used to be a pilot aboard a craft that all of you want to look at and want to research. I was a pilot. I was driving a UFO when I was time traveling all through history. I haven't heard any of the military contacting me. That's because they want to hear from other military officers who say that they are credible. Now, how could you be credible and deemed credible if you don't even know what the heck you're looking at? Or can't even comprehend what you're looking at? How could anybody be credible? A pilot who drove such technology is credible. That means I'm the most crediblest person on the whole face of the planet because I drove a UFO when I was time traveling all through history. And I got all the proof. But you'll see such and such, oh, I'm with the Air Force. I drove for 30 years and I seen a UFO every day for 30 years. Oh yeah? Well, I was just a little kid and I was time traveling on a UFO, driving it all through history. Which one is more important? The little kid inside of the craft driving the craft, pushing all the buttons? Or the military pilot who didn't know what the hell he was looking at? I go with the little kid, wouldn't you? That's the logical thing to do. But no, you won't hear that on the news. News at 10. A child with 6 other people on a camping trip got abducted by extraterrestrials, and the boy, one of the children, was driving the craft, time traveling all through history, and was recorded and documented all through history by many thousands of people. The child's even recorded on petroglyphs along with the other hikers he was with that are thousands of years old. Here's all the proof. That's the most incredible thing. That's the most incredible news that ever hit this planet. That's the most important thing that ever hit this planet. And the child became one of your sacred ancient ancestor fathers. Whoa, that's even bigger. Oh, and the child has died before his childbirth and has pictures of himself in heaven. Whoa, that's the biggest news. Only to get thrown under the bus.